Welcome back to The Division 2. In this video I want to talk to you about Skyscraper mode, which is set to hopefully come within the next month or so. And the reason I'm talking to you about this in the video is because I'm incredibly concerned for this game and the future of it. There is another couple of videos I want to do discussing things on the game, but I've had a couple of ideas. They're probably, the devs will probably never even consider putting this stuff into the game. But my idea for Skyscraper mode, because it needs to be, you need to have a way, the devs need to have a way to give players an incentive to come back and play this mode. We're going to base this on Skyscraper having 100 floors to go through. I really do think they should bring in at least a few new exotics. My actual idea is to bring in an entirely new exotic cache. So an exotic cache Mark II. And it feature 12 new exotics, like a mix between weapons and gear. I also think they should do something along the lines of daily and weekly challenges. And these challenges will award fragments or something like that to open up some exotic caches. So for an example, you could have a daily to reach floor 10 in Skyscraper, and that would award 2 fragments. Then you'll have a weekly to get to level 50, or kill 500 enemies in the mode, or something like that. That could award 5 fragments. And then if you obtain 10 fragments, you get to open an exotic cache. Alongside that, with there being possibly 100 levels, or the example we're using being 100 levels, they could do something along the lines of you get a unique exotic that's exclusive to the Skyscraper mode for every 20 floors you pass, or something like that. I would also like to see some new enemy archetypes in this mode. We obviously don't know much about it at the moment. We are supposedly hearing more within the next week or so. This week's coming State of the Game, we'll be talking about Rainbow Loot, which is another thing I'm going to be covering in a separate video. And then the week after, so the very beginning of September, we are going to hear about this Skyscraper mode. And I'm really hoping that they actually bring something good to the table for the players, because the player base has been, it's on a downward spiral and has been for a long time. They are running out of, veteran players are gone. Pretty much the only ones left are the fanboys. Other than that, the majority of this player base, from what I believe, is just new players. People that are picking up the game cheap, people that never really thought of buying the game at full price and they're just wanting to get into it now. Players that didn't want to play through the first year of the game or something, because some players do have these set rules of games where they wait a year or two to buy them. They won't buy them at launch because they know that they're going to suck. Nowadays gaming is not in a very good place. You've got all the live service games, like games as a service, and that ruins pretty much the, how would I word it? It kind of ruins the momentum of the game. It takes away from the immersion and players getting attached to characters and stuff, because basically what games as a service does is it will take main functions out of the game, parts of the game that should be there at launch. They'll take them out. They'll release them later on. So you'll be missing a lot of content. So say 10, 15 years ago, you pick up a game. Let's just say Call of Duty Black Ops 1. Just a pure example. You pick that game up, it comes with everything. The only things they release are DLC packs where you get new maps and stuff. Nowadays, you are missing full sections of games, and they release them at a later date. For an example, Grid 2019, the racing game, that come out and there was, 15, 20 cars or something. They literally took out 20% of the game. Then they released that part of the game as season pass content, and they released it over the course of a year. There are some things that, that's not 100% accurate. That's still along the lines of an example, but that's how games work nowadays. You never really get the full content. You have to wait months and months for it. The developers get all this extra time because of the games as a service. And it's not good for the players, because years ago, we would literally put a disc into our console and that would be it. We wouldn't get weekly updates and maintenance and server downtime and stuff. We would get what we paid for. And it was much better back then. I also believe they could add in some new named weapons, like completely new to the game. Like you get the standard variant, and then you get the named one which has the unique talent. But at the same time, they do need to rework a lot of the stuff, because there are some talents in the game that the unique variants of the talents are completely pointless to use, because you get like an extra 2 seconds on top of your time or something like that. Another thing is they could bring some more talents into the game. They could put it back to how it was, and we could have things like patience on our knees. And there are some other talents that players would miss, or players have been missing since Warlords come out and we had that whole Gear 2.0 system that really didn't do anything, because if Frederick Thylander worked on Gear 2.0, he left the game, like he started focusing on other projects and stuff. I think it was 3 days or something like that. Like, it was a short amount of time before Warlords come out. So after Warlords have come out, whatever Frederick had worked on had now been passed on to other people to work on it, and that's not right at all. Like, if you look at how the game's gone since Warlords released, it has not been in a good state at all. They just keep doing like cowboy jobs of patching things, and they just lie about all this stuff, and they tell us one thing, go and do something different, and they're basically keeping job security by messing things up so that they have something to work on for the next week. And it's not acceptable. So Skyscraper has to bring in some unique features so that it gets players encouraged to like play the content, especially because there is a high chance that they're going to be charging money for it. And I don't even think that the Warlords of New York owners are going to get this for free. I think this is going to be classed as a DLC expansion, is going to be, I don't know, maybe the price of a season pass. We might have to pay like £8 or £10 for it, but it's still going to be money out of our pockets if they do charge. They need to bring in things that are going to keep the player base happy. Let's say they don't bring in anything unique at all. They've just released a new game mode. All that's going to happen with that mode is players will launch into the game, they'll load up the new mode if they've paid for it, or if it's free, they'll just load into the mode. They will play it just to see what it's like. So on the day of launch for this new mode, if players haven't already shown everything from the PTS, because I'm pretty sure they're going to put this mode into the PTS that's coming up before Title Update 11 drops. If there is absolutely nothing unique, or there's a couple of unique things and players either get to see it before it releases through the PTS, or the things that when players get hold of aren't really worth the time and effort it would take to get hold of them, then it's just going to be a downward spiral all over again. So they're basically going to bring some players back, then the players are going to disappear when they realise how bad it is. So the initial day, possibly the second day of launch of this new mode, there will be a spike in players. But after around, I was going to say like 2 days, but we'll give them a week. Like a week after, if there's absolutely nothing to give players the incentive to play, then it's just going to be a whole load of wasted development, however long they've been working on it. And it's not good. So either some new exotics, new names, maybe it's a new gear set or something, and then don't just go and chuck it straight into the general loot pool for gear sets. Another feature I think needs to come into the game is the separation of gear sets from the targeted loot, because if you're going for striker, there needs to be a striker gear set thing. Like, there's loads of different things these devs could do, some of it incredibly easy to do, yet they just don't seem to bother. And a lot of players will say that they're lazy, they don't care, and that is a big factor, the fact that it seems as though the devs do not care at all. But if they are working on stuff for this game and they want to keep this game going, they need to do something, and they need to do it fast. Like, incredibly fast. Otherwise, the new players are just going to slow down. Like, when there's not a sale, there's not going to be many people picking the game up at all. And there's going to be less and less fanboys, because it gets to a stage, even as a fanboy, where the disappointment from the development team just kicks in, and you just get fed up. So you just end up hating it instead of being a fanboy. Like, it always happens. Even if you love this game to pieces. I enjoy this game. I'm not going to say anymore that I love it, because I really don't. But I still enjoy the game. And for the enjoyment, I need to see something, because otherwise, what's the point of me putting time into it? There is no point. They need to give things back to the players. And even if they are going to charge for Skyscraper, whatever, they're going to charge for it. There's nothing we can do. That's what they've decided to do. We either pay and play or we don't, and we play something different or just play the generic stuff that we play every day on the game anyway. I feel it's only about time that they actually give something to us for the grind that we've put into the game, for the amount, like, even though I bash the game a hell of a lot, at the same time, I'm still promoting it, because there could be people that watch a video and I say, oh, this is really bad, but then there could be that one video they watch of mine and they see me talking, like, praising the game and talking good about it. They go, oh, I'm going to try it. There's another sale. There's another player playing the game. So even though I do bash it, I'm still promoting it at the same time. So these devs desperately need to give back to the players before the rest of the players, however many there are, like, I don't know concurrent numbers and stuff, but however many there are left, they need to keep them in the game, and they need to do stuff to encourage players to come back, because it's getting to the point where I think their only option at the moment, if they're not going to bring in a load of unique stuff, is to bring back something like Survival, Last Stand, just any of the modes from Division 1 that players have been asking for a long time. Like, we're going on a year and a half now. They brought in these stupid appearance mods, which nobody cares about and nobody actually asked for. Yet if you look through the forums and you go back through the chats of State of the Game, there has been thousands of players asking for new modes. So Skyscraper is, I think it's going to be decent. I'm not saying it's going to be amazing, but it's new content in the game. So it's something else to do. It is a start, but I believe they need to bring in unique stuff. Just as something to encourage players to stick around and play it for longer than 2 to 3 days. But on that note, I'm going to leave that video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.